Hi friends, how are ya? Welcome back to part 2 of the sisterly advice column video. If you missed it, the first part came out last Monday, exactly a week ago, and y'all just had so many great questions that I asked on Instagram if you wanted me to make this 2 parts so that I could get to even more of them. And y'all said yes. So I hope you meant it, because here we are. I'm just making a cozy little drink for us to sit down and have together. I'm gonna make another pistachio orange matcha. I think that was too much pistachio. Just these 2 and an oat milk matcha latte. Try it. They're both on Amazon. Tell me why I'm always comfiest sitting on the floor. Like, something about it is just disarming. It feels so like casual and not formal, and it just feels like we're hanging out late night sleepover, sitting around in our pajamas in a circle. So that's my vibe right now. Okay, picking up right where we left off yet again. These are in no particular order. I tried to pull things that were like repeating themes that I saw, so that hopefully if you were a person that asked a similar question, it could still bring some value to you. And yet again, my same disclaimer if you missed the last video, take all this with a grain of salt. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl that's messed up my own life plenty of times. That brings some wisdom, and that also brings some risk to listening to anything I say. Okay. What to do when your in-laws don't like you or wouldn't have picked you for your child. That's a tough situation. Of course, I'm always going to encourage you to be kind and to be civil and to be mature. And I think that that's really important, because after all, they are important people to your most important person, your spouse, and they raised your spouse, but also, you are your spouse's new priority. I mean, like, even biblically, whether you're a Christian or not, like, you now hold a higher importance than their parents. So if you feel really hurt or uncomfortable being around your in-laws, I do think you should voice that to your partner, just so they can be aware. Yet again, I would still love them, show up for them, be kind to them, and maybe it takes a long time for them to just warm up to you. Or maybe you're completely like misunderstanding their tone. Maybe you feel like they don't like you or wouldn't have chosen you, but maybe they just, every family has their own culture, and maybe their tone is just colder than your family's tone. And it might make you feel that way, but it might not be true. So there's a lot of different scenarios, but I would say love them, be kind, be mature, but take as much space away from them as you need in order to keep your marriage healthy, is what I would say. Why do you think breakups hurt so much even when you're the one who ended things? I would argue that there's a chance that breakups hurt worse when you're the one who ended things, because you're dealing with the emotional weight of making that decision. You're dealing with kind of that like mental math of, was this the right call? Should I have done that? You're worried that maybe you might have inflicted hurt or pain onto the other person. Breakups hurt. They hurt so bad. It's completely relearning a new way of living your life. You go from making so much of your patterns and your conversations around one singular person, and to change that changes so many other aspects of your life. So don't feel like you're not allowed to be hurt just because you did the breaking up. I would even argue it's probably harder. This is interesting. Advice for creators who would prefer a faceless account. And then they asked another question saying, how to better handle people and online comments that feel inaccurate. Being a creator is an incredible job. Like, there's obviously so many perks. We can all see it. It's like you get to make your own schedule. The income has unlimited growth potential. You get to like decide what you do each day and make it a fun work day for you. The thing that you have to kind of sell in order to accept those perks is the fact that what you share online will be criticized. Like, people will make assumptions, they will make hurtful comments, that it's just part of it. That's kind of what you agree to by accepting the other perks of the job. I think it's totally possible to make a faceless account. Like, people do it all the time. People have like cooking accounts that are just their hands. People have more commentary accounts that are like animated. People have pet accounts, even like following their dog around. Like, it's totally possible. I do think it's harder to like build an authentic connection as a creator if you're not the one like face to face having the conversation with the people watching you. but it's totally possible. Someone else said, what has helped you not worry about how other people perceive you? This is the thing that like I've had to do the most work on, and I still have a long journey ahead for me. I do so much therapy around this. A couple pieces of advice I could give you if you like struggle with that as well, especially online, is to not seek out unnecessarily, like finding the people that might disagree with you or have inaccurate ideas about you. Also, I think it's very important to be aware of how you're doing day to day. I have built this awareness with like how sensitive I am each day because it vastly varies, especially I think probably depending on the time of the month and my hormones and just like what phase I'm in. I can feel some days that I am just sensitive and anxious, and I know these days I'm actually just not gonna read a single comment today. I'll catch up on those tomorrow or the next day. And other days I'm feeling pretty resilient right now. If I see something that is hurtful, I think I can handle it right now. So I'm gonna go on and like respond to all the really nice people. That's something that's helped me, is just being aware and like letting myself take full days off from reading a single piece of feedback about me if I don't think I can handle it in a healthy way. So that was a lot of rambling, but I hope that helps. How do you maintain a healthy mindset during periods of change, moving, changing careers, etc.? I think it is thrilling to know that anything is possible, and it is so satisfying to have an excuse to reassess how you do things and better optimize it for what you want out of life. And if you're changing jobs, you now have a new boss where you can say, hey, these were things that I struggled with in my last job, maybe the last work environment, maybe with the way I structured my day. And so since I'm starting new here up front, I'd love to tell you like my goals to be the best employee possible and also have a healthy relationship with this work. It's fun to have that opportunity to be really intentional. Anything's possible, and that's exciting. Okay, this is hard. How to deal with friend group dynamics after I've broken up with someone in the same group. Y'all have seen me do this before. It depends on a lot. It depends on how amicable the breakup was. It depends on who was really close as your friend before y'all started dating versus who was really close as their friend before y'all started dating. I think though, it just takes a lot of intentional conversations, especially if you don't want to be around your ex. If there's really close people in the friend group that you love and you want to spend time with, saying, hey, I'm not in a place to like hang out in a group with my ex. You mean a lot to me. I'd still love to be your friend. I understand if that puts you in a sticky situation of trying to be like, do we invite him? Do we invite her? You know, like trying to figure out how to not have us be together at the same time. But would love to still hang out with you as much as you're comfortable with and leave it at that and see what happens. And you might have to be okay with drifting away from that friend group and finding a new community if that is more of like your ex's community, which sucks and is hard. Like I had to let go of some friends for sure that wanted to stay friends with my ex-husband, and like power to them, totally fine with that. But I can't be in that circle. That is so unhealthy, and I just didn't even want to deal with that kind of like mental emotional game. What are red flags that you look for in relationships? Something that I learned when I met Jordy and that I wish I had done in previous relationships is like actually take what their friends and family say very seriously. I think when I was younger and dating and like someone that I was with's friend would make a comment of like, oh, that's just them, like can't really ever rely on that, or like, yeah, he went through a phase where blank, or every few years he seems to shift personalities, or things like these were things that were said to me, and I was like, oh, it's just friends being just like kind of funny. I think when friends and family of the person you're with say something, massive red flag, green flag. When I started dating Jordy, all of his friends said he is the most loving, caring, compassionate, hardworking person, loyal person that I know. Like I heard things like that from everybody around him, and not just like, oh, you know Jordy, he's always blank. Like I never heard anything like that. And to me, that was big green flag, as opposed to if any friends were to make little slight comments, that I would put a microscope up to that, because they might not even realize that that's their kind of like funny roundabout way of kind of giving you a warning, but it might be. How long would you try if your husband cheated? I'm putting so much effort in to save our marriage, but I feel like I'm hardly getting anything back. He says he fell out of love with me. And then she said, 2 kids. I'm so sorry. I don't wish that upon anybody. I don't wish that upon anybody. Minus the kids, I have been exactly there, and I know how hard it is. And I can't speak to the kids part of it. I know that changes so much. I don't feel like I could speak to that. If you told me exactly what you told me minus the 2 kids, I would say, get out of there. Like, he cheated. he doesn't want to work on it. You're trying. He said he doesn't love you. All those things are heartbreaking, and none of it was your fault or your choice. Especially if you are trying. You did more than you had to by trying after he cheated. To me, if a spouse cheats on you, like, that is more than enough permission to do whatever you need to do for yourself. That wasn't you deciding that. That wasn't you doing that. I know that probably having kids, like, you want to keep things amicable so that the kids can have a relationship with their father. Like, I think that there's plenty of ways to do that without staying married to that person, probably. Like I said, that's not my place. I can't really give advice on that. I can't really speak to that. But if you're looking for validation or encouragement to get out of the marriage because he cheated, because he doesn't want to work on it, and because he doesn't love you, all of those things are more than enough of a reason. You deserve to be cherished. You deserve someone to want you, to work on things with you, and to not cheat on you after taking a vow to protect you and love you. Like, that's a very serious thing. Okay, right back to another kind of heavier one. This says, I'm in love with someone who doesn't want kids, but I do. That is a hard thing, and unfortunately that decision fully relies on you. That person has come to you saying what they want or what they don't want, and you need to respect that as part of the package deal if you choose that person. I would just caution you that if you stay with this person, that you won't resent them down the line for them being the reason you don't have kids, because that is unfair to them, and that's like a very unhealthy dynamic, but could be so easy to slip into and so fair to feel that resentment of like, I love you and now I can't have kids because of you. It's hard because at this point in your life, kids are like a hypothetical. You don't know them yet. You don't know who they could be. You don't know what having a child is actually like. But I think the advice I would give you is just to weigh, like, if you had to choose one or the other, which would you choose? Because you can't have them both. But I would just hate for you to be complacent in your relationship and then resent this person down the line. This one says, can we discuss something controversial? What is your view on sexy lingerie? Is lingerie controversial? Me questions everything. I love lingerie. I have a whole big drawer full of lingerie. Is that controversial? If it makes you feel hot and beautiful and is fun for you and your partner, I love it. I think it's great. How do you know when you've met your person after healing from a previous relationship? Here's what I can say about this. And like, I really only can tell you my personal experiences, which is why I keep bringing it back to like what I've experienced. When you meet someone that is a great fit for you, you know it. Like, I have always said, the phrase of when you know, I didn't like really believe it until I met Jordy. And then I was like, oh, this is what they mean. Like, this is the feeling I'm supposed to feel. Life is funny. Life is funny. You really can't control so much about life. But if you meet someone and you get that feeling of, oh, this feels right, maybe it'll be sooner than you expect. Maybe it'll be way later than you expect. Explore it healthily. Like, for us, since I was still very much healing from something traumatic and hard, we had to have a lot of safety in place. We kept things long distant. I was in a lot of therapy. We didn't even put a label on it for a while. We didn't announce to the internet for forever because I didn't want like that type of social pressure put onto our relationship, like all sorts of things. So I would say explore it and just be mindful if you're still healing or if you're unsure about where you are, to tread lightly. But when you know, you know. What skincare steps are actually important for me to incorporate? I would probably get you a face wash, vitamin C serum, a moisturizer, and a sunscreen. That's probably all I would do. So at nighttime, I'd say wash your face, do a serum, do a moisturizer. And then morning time, I would say wash your face, do a moisturizer, do sunscreen. But I don't know, I'm not a dermatologist. These are just my own experiences yet again. How to get a guy to notice me without seeming desperate. Similarly, someone else said, when to pursue a guy because he isn't seeing you. I think it is hot and cool when a girl makes a first move. I feel like there's like this weird kind of narrative in our minds, maybe like a more old-fashioned mindset where like you should only be pursued. But I think that's dumb. I think it is so okay to be the first one to make a move. If you notice someone, you're interested in him or her. Both these people said guy and guy. So I'm just gonna talk to these people right now. You see a guy and maybe he hasn't noticed you yet. I think it is so great, so fine to walk up and make a little small talk, make a little conversation, maybe get his name, maybe follow him on Instagram. But then what I would recommend is to take a back seat, because now he knows who you are. Maybe even you said something a little bit flirty to where he knows, I think she might be interested in me. But then you deserve to be pursued. I would say if you're like around a guy a lot and like desperately like, notice me, date me, notice me, date me, and they're just not showing interest, then they're not the one for you. Because I said something similar to this in part 1. You deserve to be pursued. You deserve to have someone that is just like enthralled with you and your beauty and your aura and your energy, and like, I need to know this girl. I need to get to know her. If they don't come to you after you made your first move, you deserve someone who's obsessed with you. This next one is interesting because it feels niche, but I actually had a couple of people ask similar things. One person said, should you be a part of someone's wedding if you don't think they should be getting married? Another person said, would you refuse to go to the wedding of a couple that you think are completely incompatible? These were 2 different accounts, 2 different people. If you say be a part of someone's wedding, as in like they ask you to be maid of honor, I would answer this question differently for you. If you think these 2 people should not get married and are going to have like an unhealthy, hard road ahead of them, but they asked you, hey, will you be the person that stands next to us on this day, up on the stage, essentially also vowing to be here for us in this marriage and in this relationship, and to be our community and our support system, you need to take that very seriously, because that's also a commitment that you are making. And what I would say is it is your responsibility before standing up on that stage to have one conversation with them, no more, no less, unless they ask you for more, and say something to the effect of, I'm so honored that you asked me to be by your side on this day, but I feel like it is my responsibility to just bring up a couple concerns that I have before you go through with this. Just hear me out. I know this might not be my place because I'm not in this relationship. I can't see every part of it, but as your friend and someone that loves you and cares for you, these are my thoughts. And then if you think I'm totally out of line and completely misreading and misunderstanding this situation, then you tell me that, and I will gladly be there for you and support you and love to be a part of this day for you. And then tell them why you think that they should not be getting married, and then drop it. Because after that point, it's not your life, it's not your marriage, it's not your responsibility. It might end very poorly, but you are essentially vowing to be there for your friend through that journey and supporting them. But I do think it's a responsibility to say something. However, if you are just asked to attend a wedding and you want to go, how did you phrase it? Refuse to go because you think they are completely incompatible. To be frank, that is not your place. If you're not in the relationship, like I said, you don't know it. They might be completely incompatible. They might be divorced in 6 months. But if you care for them at all, I don't think it is worth hurting feelings, throwing away a friendship because you don't think that they are compatible. If you don't want to go, I would find a reason that is not that to not go. Like, have a conflict or something, that's fine. Don't not go out of spite. That's not your place as an attendee. If it was me, and if it was a friend of mine that was getting married and I love this friend and I thought he was not compatible for her, I would still go because I love the friend, you know? Tips on fighting perfectionism. Not being so hard on yourself and/or being more present in your life. I feel this to my core. I have started adopting a 90% mentality. I care about doing a good job. I care about getting an A. I care about being an A student. I don't care about being an A+ student. You might notice occasionally there's little things wrong in my videos here or there. I stumble over some words, or there's a little thing that is misspelled or whatever, and sometimes I'll notice it and I'll be like, you know what, that's so small. The video, in my mind, I'd give it a 90%, and that's good enough for me to not spend the next 3 hours completely redoing it and re-uploading it and whatever, to just be like, this is good enough. It got a 90 in my mind, and that has really helped me. What would happen if you purposely didn't try to be perfect for once? Would the world stop? Would you be fired? You know what I mean? I almost wonder what would happen if you forced yourself to step out of your comfort zone by purposely not doing something 110% for once. Maybe it's you put a lot of pressure on yourself to keep your house spotless. What if, just as an experiment, almost kind of like a form of exposure therapy, what if for 1 week you said, I'm not gonna clean my house. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. And I might hate it. and I'm just gonna see what happens. I'm gonna see like worst case scenario. If I don't keep this perfect, what is life like? Maybe it's just a nice way to kind of dabble in that and then prove to yourself that you don't have to be perfect to survive. You can purposely be imperfect and things will be just fine. How to be creative when you're experiencing burnout. I also feel this deeply. Being on a very rigorous schedule for a creative job has taught me a lot about showing up even when you feel creative burnout. And something that I think helps me and might help you is, instead of trying to make the best thing possible right now, what is a way for me to show up in my creative work that just excites me? Maybe nobody else will like it, but it excites me. For me lately, that's been all of my food videos. I know that those don't perform well, but it's very important for me to do something that feels fulfilling, even if it's not good for my performance of my creative thing that I'm presenting, just because that kind of reminds me of like, anything's possible. This is a creative job. You can find new concepts, new avenues, new things like that. And it feels selfish, but it re-sparks that like joy and that desire to create. So maybe take a work day, a creative work day, and say, today I don't care how I perform. I'm just going to show up and create something. My only rule is I have to be excited about it. Okay, we're gonna end on this last one. My battery's almost dead. Let's see if it dies in the middle of this. How to get over an ex that cheated on you but keeps reaching out. I hate that. I hate that he cheated on you and then doesn't leave you alone. Feels manipulative. I would say if you are wanting to get over him, forget about him, leave him behind in the dust, you need to be really explicit with your boundaries. First, I would just point blank say, I don't think I'm in a spot right now where I want to communicate with you. If you could stop reaching out to me, I would really appreciate that. You have every right in the world to say that, especially as an ex who cheated on you. Like, that's like double whammy. Every right in the world to say that. But if this person does not respect that, screw him. I would just block him on everything that you possibly could. Don't even give him the option. Take away his ability to keep popping up in your life and like distracting you, tormenting you, whatever his intent is with doing that. I would block his number, block him on social media. Then there's really nothing he can do about it. I think it is very aware for you to want to move on in a healthy way instead of letting that person continue to like pop up in your life and cause you to take up mental or emotional space without your consent. That's that, guys. We did 2 videos of this. This is really fun. I would love to do this like, I don't know, once a month or something. I think that these are really fun. And just, I like to get to connect with you guys about your life. Like, this platform is so funny because it's a conversation, but it's so one-sided at the same time. Like, I love to know what's going on in your world and just compare notes and help each other figure out this crazy, silly little thing called life. So thank you for clicking on this video, for being here. If you watched both parts, you're the real one. Hopefully this was a fun kind of almost podcasty situation. Hopefully you drank a yummy drink and were cozy with me, but I love you. I hope you have the best rest of your day, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.